And here we go, folks. We have a exciting matchup tonight in the Big Rivers Conference between the Hudson Raiders girls soccer team in blue, playing from right to left on your screen, against the Eau Claire Memorial Old Abe's in white, playing from left to right on your screen. And it's a pretty fast-paced match to start things off. Right off the bat, the Raiders bring it down, and then the Old Abe's bring it all the way back down. So, fast-paced beginning, end to end, and should be a fun matchup. The Hudson Raider girls are off to a strong start, and coming off their latest victory over Chippewa Falls before this game was a 2-0 victory for the Raiders, putting their record at a solid, I believe, 6-2 at that time. This is a recording of today's match between the Hudson Raiders and the Eau Claire Memorial Old Abe's, and that's the beauty of technology, is we can do some voiceover work after the fact. So that's what's happening here. And since then, the Raiders also played a couple matches over the weekend. I don't know the exact outcome of those matches, but I think it was a couple of tough matches for the Raiders. So, but I'll try to track that down as this game goes on. So the Raiders keep pushing it around. Memorial keeps pushing it back, and now we'll settle in and see what can happen here. So Raiders pushing the ball again deep in. They're going to get a free kick here that looks like much closer than anyone thought at first, but now the referee is pushing it back a little bit. That'll be Maggie McConnell, freshman defender, having a great season back at the center D position. She's going to pop it in there. That's a really nice ball, just off center a little bit, but right in front of the goal, so it takes the goalie out of play. Raiders look like they pull up and get or the Old Abe's are pulled up on the Raiders and forced an offsides, which is always tricky on those plays, but it's a good defensive strategy if you can make that happen on your team's behalf. So the Eau Claire Memorial Old Abe's will now take a free kick, basically a goal kick. Raiders keep fighting it out. Had a little collision there, but the ref goes with a no call, which is probably the right call. Throw in here by the Raiders, trying to get something quick. That's Sophia Nault in the corner there. She's had a spectacular season, scoring a number of times. And a nice little play back there to, I think that's Grace Lewis, with a nice one touch there off the cross, but just not able to get quite the angle or the boot on it that she wanted. But a good attempt nonetheless. So another goal kick here for the Old Abe's. Raiders fighting out again. There's Grace Hansen again. She gets it and tries to put a little chip on, but it gets deflected. Old Abe's push it right back up the field, but again intercepted by the Raiders. Referee throws up the flag again for an offsides on the Raiders. Can't quite see the whole field when I am doing this off of a recording, and so can't really tell who was at fault, but Raiders are going to march back and get ready for the Old Abe's free kick. Can also be hard to see in this format, substitutions, but I will do my best, and I might even be able to hear some of the actual game footage sound of substitutes, so we'll do our best on that for you folks. Raiders having a little bit of trouble scoring as of late, but Now the Old Abes get a little breakaway there. Decides to pull it back, reset, and try to swing it over to her teammates, but no such luck for the Old Abes as the Raiders' defense holds strong. Ball goes deep down into Memorial territory and picked up by their goalkeeper. I do not have a Old Abes roster, so I will please forgive me if you are an Old Abes fan, because I will not really have any ability to call out those players. So, going to be a Raiders throw in here at the midfield. Often the Raiders are in white when they play at home, so this is a little bit different for the Raiders to be coming in blue. Still no real scoring threat yet on either side. Raiders kind of bringing it in, possessing it more in the offensive half of the Old Abes, but neither team doing much in terms of true offensive attempts. So we have 0 shots on goal for either team. Waiting for a throw in here. Going to be some substitutions, looks like, for the Old Abes.
Subbing in for Eau Claire, number 15, Avery Breedle, and number 7, Madison Rosenberger.
A couple subs for the Old Abes, none for the Raiders yet. Raiders keep pushing that ball up the field. Old Abe's trying to angle out there in defense. Nicely done, but a little push from behind by Nault is right in front of the side ref, and the head ref is going to definitely get a foul, and he's getting a verbal warning as well. That was maybe a little on the flagrant side to just kind of push like that. So I think the ref is saying you do it again, you're going to get a card, and you try to avoid those as much as possible. Cards do happen, yellows from time to time, but an accumulation of cards can be troublesome for players. So we move on. Here we go. Memorial now takes the ball. That was number 12, Grace Hansen, fighting it out on the sideline there. Raiders continue to battle everywhere. A little too much arm there by Raiders defense. And another foul called on them. Raiders they're an aggressive team. They play physically, and they're going to get some fouls. And they're generally okay with that. And you know, you have to play physically in this game. For a lot of reasons, so that generally serves them well. It's a nice ball in by the Old Abes. Nobody there to really capitalize on it, but that ball came in low in a nice location someone is in the right spot, that could have been a good opportunity to make something happen. There's Rancinici trying to send that ball up the sideline. Unfortunately, Old Abe's intercepted it, and now they put it up for a long ball. It's Jillian Brown fighting it out. Nice play there by her on the sideline to win it back. And the Raiders continue to fight it out here in defense, trying to keep the Old Abes at bay. And they're going to turn that into a goal kick here. We're now over 10 minutes into the first half. Score is still 0-0. 0 shots on goal as well between these two teams.
Coming in for Hudson, number 9, Britta Holter, and number 24, Olivia Petty.
So in for the Raiders now, we have Olivia Petty, a sophomore midfield and forward, and then Britta Holter, a sophomore, who's playing a lot of midfield lately, some defense, so occasionally goes in at the goalkeeper in a rotation. So a good couple of underclassmen going to get some minutes here. Raiders keep pushing it up the field. There's Grace Hansen on the sideline there, playing tough. Tries to keep that ball alive, sending it up the line, but it did go out of bounds.
Coming into the game for Eau Claire, number 10, Claire Shiners, and number 16, Piper Gunderson.
Couple more subs there for the Eau Claire Memorial Old Abes. And the Raiders keep fighting it out at the center of the field. And seems to be a good battle between the two teams so far. Both playing quite well defensively and disrupting and getting in those passing angles to intercept passes. Each team also, working hard to move that ball up towards the field, but as it gets closer to the scoring area, the pressure so far has been a little too much for both teams to get anything offensively going. Passing maybe is a bit off on both ends, not the tightest passing and finding the right people open, things like that. But it's early in the game. It takes some time for teams to kind of feel each other out and find those weaknesses, and we'll see what happens. I do not know the score of this game, and that's the way I like it when I'm going to do these announcements, so that I can have it be a little more exciting. So here we go. Raiders keep pushing it up. There's Grace Lewis on the sideline there, but two defense was a little too much for her. The Old Abes keep pushing it to that far right corner. Here they go. Old Abe's trying to get a cross on. They just couldn't get enough foot under that ball for it to be very effective. And now the Raiders turn it out with a couple nice passes. So they found some nice passing angles there. Now they kind of went for a through ball there and kind of disrupted things, but able to pull it back. And now they're moving it around. There's a nice play. Ooh, wow. Great play by the Old Abe's goalkeeper. Raiders, I think that maybe was Grace Lewis there again, right there at the right spot at the right time. Referee is calling a foul of some sort on Eau Claire. Must have been long before the ball got in there. So even though the Old Abe's made a great play, the Raiders are going to get a dangerous opportunity here. Looks like Olivia Petty lining up from about 23 yards out. See if she takes a shot. got a little too much under that ball, not enough laces on it, and Olivia sends that ball high on the goal. So we remain scoreless. I see a shot registered, not exactly sure where that was. May have counted that one that was pulled back from the penalty. So technically, I'm not sure that's a shot because of the penalty, but it's on the board. Raiders are getting closer. They're working that ball in. This is what we typically see from them in most games of the season is about 10, 15 minutes of kind of feeling out their opponent, and then they start knocking on the door. So we've seen that here so far. We'll see if they can put some things together here or not. And that's number 9. Britta Holter there in the far corner, playing it out on defense and wisely playing that so that the Raiders get the goal kick. Out of bounds, and will be Old Abe's throw in. Another one out of bounds for the Old Abes. Another throw in for them. There's a play in, quick turn and play there. Old Abe's bringing it all the way back to about the midfield to reset. And they push it up. They really seem to like that right side. Almost all of their offense is going to the right side. And they don't do much to bring that ball over to the left side. Big throw there. Old Abe's starting to equalize the time of possession a bit here after about 5 to 8 minutes of dominating play and control by the Raiders. It's Petty keeping that ball alive and trying to get it up the middle. It's Grace Lewis with a nice ball up the middle. And a great that was a good, really good play. Grace Lewis gets that ball out to the right, but it was really a 50-50 opportunity, and Eau Claire just beat them to it. So there's a pickup by the Raiders goalkeeper. I believe that is. In goal for the Raiders, Hannah Kendhammer. Hannah is their usual goalkeeper. There's a few other players that have a little rotation in at times. Hannah's played well at her time. She's a sophomore, so can have a couple more years after this in the goal for the Raiders, which would be great. Looks like the trainer came out to meet the Eau Claire goalkeeper for some reason. Perhaps somebody was hurt and they're also checking out the goalkeeper. Most of it was off screen, so I'm speculating. Referee is checking the ball, checking in with Hudson goalkeeper Hannah Kendhammer. And he's just going to call it a live ball and let her punt it. There's a variety of ways that can be handled. That's what was happening when the play was paused for the injury. That's not an uncommon way of handling it. Sometimes it's a drop ball where the agreement before the drop is that Eau Claire will just give it to Hudson since they had the ball at the time, so very sportsmanlike way of handling that type of stoppage and play. Raiders again keep moving that ball around, feeding it in the middle, bringing it back. Julian Brown is now going to set up for a long ball. The Raiders tend to live by the long ball, whether it's a long pass or through ball attempts, and that can work great, and that can be challenging at times. And so we'll see how that plays out for the Raiders tonight.
Checking in for Hudson, number 11, Armana Ransanichi, and number 12, Grace Hansen.
Couple Raiders back in the game. Ransanichi, one of the top scorers for the Raiders this year, a sophomore, exited the game for a bit there, and Grace Hansen, one of the senior leaders and a stalwart in the center of the field at midfield for the Raiders, back in the game. Everybody is gearing up for this throw, and Old Abe's keep it alive up the line, and the Raiders intercept and push it back up. Now it'll be a Raiders throw. Looks to be a warm night this night in Hudson, and warm and a pretty sunny night. Everybody looks comfortable in the video. It doesn't appear to be much wind on the flag, so great night for soccer in the Hudson River Valley. For those of you unfamiliar, Eau Claire is about an hour east of Hudson off of I-94, and Eau Claire is a large enough city that it has two high schools, Eau Claire North and Eau Claire Memorial, and the Raiders defeated Eau Claire North earlier this year. Here comes Petty. Raiders keep it in. They're going for that long ball up through the middle. Nice crossing pattern there. Grace Lewis on the spot, but goalkeeper had the leg up on her for position and timing to get that ball. Jillian Brown with the throw. Off of the Old Abes will be another throw for the Raiders. Quick ball in there. A couple little passes, and then kind of broken up by the Old Abes. Ball goes out of bounds off of the Memorial Old Abes, and here comes Jillian Brown with the throw. Little miscommunication there, and Eau Claire is an easy clear, but that's intercepted by Riley White. But then a misplay sent it into the box and cleared by Eau Claire, and now Eau Claire is pushing that ball up the field. Swarming defense by the Raiders. Some nice play there. Gets the ball back, but eventually is in Old Abe's throw-in. Actually a Raiders throw-in. Off of Ransanichi out of bounds will be an Old Abe's throw. Couple subs for the Old Abes coming in.
Coming into the game for Eau Claire, number 2, Sarah Lester, and number 13, Adeline Vergutz.
Eau Claire trying to keep a strong rotation in here. They're hanging tight with the Raiders. 0-0 is our score. We're about 22 minutes into the first half, so we're into the second half of the first half, and only 2 shots for the Raiders and 1 for Memorial so far on goal. And a 0-0 tie. There's a really nice throw in that was just placed nicely over the head on the way to the goal, but too much defense by the Raiders to kind of squash that attempt. Another big throw, but the Raiders get the clear. So far, a very evenly matched game for the most part. I think the Raiders are probably edging the Old Abes on time of possession, but largely a pretty back and forth match. Claire keeps knocking on the door this time, trying to get that ball in, but this time they rolls all the way out, and that'll be a goal kick for the Raiders. Comes a big kick. Kendhammer with a big kick there, and the Raiders pick it up. Looks like Ransonici over on the right, trying to get it into the middle. Just a little out of the reach again of Grace Lewis. Grace she's around that ball in the goal area quite a bit, but it's always kind of one step away or just a bad angle for Grace. But she'll keep at it. Again, Eau Claire brings it right back down. Claire hasn't really gotten, solid attempts near the box. Raiders have probably had more quality box opportunities, and by box I mean the big goal box area. That's kind of the scoring area. But Eau Claire has gotten the ball down there quite a bit. Now they're playing it out far right again. Cleared out by the Raiders, and another throw in here for the Old Abes. Raiders defense again holding strong. We got Jillian Brown there. We got Riley White. It's going to be a Old Abes throw in. Looks like they're waiting for some substitutes. Big throw.
Number 7, Madison Rosenberger, and number 5, Eliana Boda.
That was a huge throw by the Old Abes. Almost a corner kick level throw right into the goal area. Raiders were able at least to keep that under control and get it out of the box. These Old Abes are playing tough. Raiders get it up the line, but goes out of bounds off of Eau Claire. Be another Raiders throw-in. Here's Jillian Brown. Again, Ransonici tries to put that in the center, but fortunately Memorial was there with the two defenders to swipe that ball away. Here come the Raiders. Nice play back there. Really nice play by the Raiders, and Olivia Petty just not able to get a solid foot on that shot. But boy, that was a nice play. I'm not sure who had that. Kind of a pass back, but out at the top of the box, which I think caught Eau Claire by surprise a little bit, because you don't usually see a pass like that at that point. Usually you're pushing it further and further towards the end line, and then you do the pullback pass like that. But this was quite early and effective. It's Grace Lewis again, pulls it back, and she goes for a little pass back too, but that's nabbed up by the Memorial goalkeeper. Comes Olivia Petty again. That ball was swiped off the angle by Memorial and put up the field, and will be what appears to maybe be a Memorial corner kick. I think Riley White was doing her best to get that ball as a throw-in to get the ball out, but it must have taken a tough angle and gone off the end line, which
Number 10 entering the game,
more rotation of players for the Old Abes. And yes, it will be a corner kick. I think this is our first corner kick of the match. Eau Claire is going to get it. These can be some very dangerous opportunities for any team. Ball's a little too low to be too dangerous, except off the rebound, as we just saw. You never know what can happen, but that is good for the Raiders, and it'll give them a goal kick opportunity here to move it up the field. We're now almost 30 minutes into the match and into the first half, so we're down to about 10 minutes left in the first half, and our score remains 0-0 between these two teams.
For Hudson, number 16, Allie Stubendick, and number 21, Kylie Newis.
Kylie Newis back in the game for the Raiders. She's a senior, and Allie Stubendick, a junior, back in the game for the Raiders. Allie is one of the Raiders' leading scorers and having a strong start to the season, so we'll see if maybe Allie can make something happen here. Allie and Kylie coming into the game. We'll see if those two can spark something interesting on the offense. So far, the defense is holding strong for the Raiders. Got a whistle of some sort. Missed the play. Looks like it's a Raiders foul, and that'll give Eau Claire a free kick. 40 yards out. So this will be more like a corner kick. We'll see how they can handle this kick. Again, kind of low, a little bit short, so Hudson's able to manage that well. Here's Rancinici back to help out. Claire playing a little pass around. Nice takeaway there by Grace Lewis. A little errant pass by Memorial, and Lewis was all over it. Raiders are able to control the ball and are now going to get a throw in off this. This is Kylie Newis here with the throw. And that's off of the Old Abes. That was Grace Lewis attacking that ball for the Raiders. Raiders going there for a quick one-touch off of Olivia Petty, but didn't quite get the foot on it right, and the Old Abes are able to pick it up. Now pushed up the field. A lot of back and forth here. No one quite yet able to put that quality scoring opportunity down. So we will wait. We're now about 32 minutes into the first half. 8 minutes left in the half. And big throw here for the Raiders. See if the Raiders can get something going here. Kind of a shove from behind. You sometimes wonder why it looks like the ref saw it, puts the whistle in the mouth, and waits. It's usually because they're trying to see if there's any sort of what's called advantage on the play. So in other words, the Raiders might have they were fouled there. However, if the play after that foul is in the Raiders' advantage, a good advantage for them to keep the ball and push it up the field, then the referee has the judgment to not call the penalty and let the Raiders have a better opportunity there than they may have just by getting a free kick. So soccer is not a sport where you get every foul called because of that advantage rule. So sometimes people watching it just see a foul and they expect that a penalty is called and a free kick is given. But if your team...
Number 1, Lydia Palmier. Number 15, Avery Breedle. Number 20, Ellie Hudson. And number 16, Piper Gunderson.
Whole bunch of Old Abes coming into the game. So anyway, back to advantage. That's why sometimes you don't see a penalty actually called even though you saw it happen on the field. Now, if it's a cardable offense, so yellow card, red card, then it will be called, and advantage is kind of out of the window at that point. Sometimes the refs let the play and advantage play out to see if anything happens, and then once it's taken away by the other team or things like that, then they'll call and they'll issue the card and deal with the penalty then. But most often they call it right away. I don't think I've seen a card yet this season for the Hudson girls for all the games they've had so far. And here we go. Down to about a little over 5 minutes left in the half. 0-0. Not sure I've seen a Raiders game scoreless in the first half yet this year. I've not actually seen every game, but most of them. They're usually pretty adept at getting something on the board. Defense again, holding strong for the Raiders, keeping Old Abe's from having really much of any legitimate scoring opportunities. There you go. There's Ransonici, who picks it up and sends it wide. Unfortunately, a little too wide and a little too deep, and picked up by the Old Abe's goalkeeper, who gives it a punt. Quick turn there by the Raiders, sending it up, and again the Raiders seem to consistently be one step away on a lot of these passes and plays. So if they can tighten that up a little bit, tighten up the angles, and maybe have a little more luck, then things might start going their way here in terms of getting on the board. But here we go, Memorial. Nice play up the line. Earlier in the game, I said they're really pushing it up the right side, which they have dominantly gone after the right side, but that was a nice push up the left side of the field for the Old Abes. Again, they're playing over to that left. Big clear there by the Raiders. I think that's Maggie McDonald. Play there by Petty off of Memorial. Is going to give the Raiders a throw in. Ref is blowing the whistle for a sub. Down to about 3.5 minutes in the half.
Substitution for the Raiders, checking in number 17, Sophia Nault.
Sophia Nault back in the game. She's another high scoring player for the Raiders, so Sophia is going to be needed here, especially in the second half, to see if we can get the Raiders on the board. Big throw. Wow, that girl has a big throw for the for Memorial. But the kind of bouncing back and forth again leads to it being easy to be offsides, and Memorial player offsides will give the Raiders a free kick. We're now down to under 3 minutes in the half. We do not have a score, but our main statistic is shots on goal. Raiders are up 4-1 in that category. Maybe more like 3-1, but we'll see. There's Grace Lewis again on the sideline. There's some strong play on that far side for the Raiders.
One moment. I couldn't find that in your...
Oops, sorry about that. Got two computers running here, and one sometimes likes the sound of my voice and gets things cooking that way. Here we go. Down to about 2 minutes in the half. Memorial with the throw. Big jump there by the Raiders over. Looks like the ref felt like Memorial maybe undercut her and calls a foul. Ref did ask for the clock to stop. It looks like it wasn't stopped necessarily. Maybe he didn't. Maybe I missed that. Raiders are going to get the kick here. All is good. We're down to about 1 minute and 20 seconds. Claire going for some more push here in the last minute. Nice little cut play there. Tough play there. There's not a side judge at that angle, and the ref was maybe not at an angle to see that. Did look like a potential handball on the Raiders. But ref has two eyes and a lot of places to see and a lot of bodies that can get in the way, so we live with it. And Memorial gets that ball by the goalkeeper and is going to give it a punt, and we're down to about 30 seconds left in the first half here. A scoreless first half. Both teams will be looking to make some adjustments. I think the Raiders need to tighten up their passing and try to really get into those more open passing angles to move the ball up the field a little bit more, not rely on the long ball. And Eau Claire very similarly needs to do similar things, but they also need to get under the ball a little bit more on their crosses because their crossing attempts have been a little bit slow. All right, we're now queuing up here for the second half of the game here in Hudson, Wisconsin at Hudson High School Raiders Stadium. Beautiful stadium, built just a few years ago by the community. And the Raiders are in blue on your screen from left to right, playing against the Eau Claire Memorial High School Old Abe's. There's a lot of words in that name, so I'm not going to keep saying all those. But the Old Abe's from Eau Claire in white, playing from right to left on your screen. First half action, no scoring at all. Kind of something rare with the Hudson Raiders girls soccer team. And so 0-0 is our score. Both defenses playing very well, limiting no real threatening opportunities by either team yet. So that's kudos to the defense on both sides. It's Maggie McDonald there with a nice kick out of bounds for the Raiders. McConnell. Throw in here for the Old Abe's. It's a nice disrupting play there by Sophia Nault. Just playing it up the line to Ransonici, who sends that ball across the field. A little bit offline and a little bit kind of high for the recipient. Chased down by Memorial and kicked out of bounds, so the Raiders get it back. And there's a big cross there. And there's Sophia Nault. That's where you want. She pulls it back to Ransonici. Whew, okay, now we've got some action. That was a great opportunity for the Raiders. Sophia Nault could have maybe kept that and brought it in for a shot, but defense was closing in on her. She elects to pass it back, and Ransonici maybe wasn't in perfect stride, but was in pretty good stride and gave it a hit. Not a bad hit either, but not probably exactly what she wanted, and deflected by the goalkeeper. And Raiders are going to have their first corner kick of the night now at about 2.5 minutes in. Let's see if they can do a little damage here. Big ball there. It's really in a nice place. Raiders, oh, wow, 2 nice plays, a nice header, and people there to get it, and punched out by the Old Abe's goalkeeper, who then on the rebound play there picks that up too. She's had a nice sequence of saves there and some great offense by the Raiders. We're seeing some of the Raiders we're used to with some quality scoring attempts, at least 2 right there in that little 30-second window. Now the Old Abe's have it back down on their side of the field, and the Raiders will be defending. A little bit of noise there. I'll shut that down. Referee's calling for a stoppage of play for some reason. I think somebody might be hurt. Not sure. and looks like we're going to get going here. It's nice footwork there by the Old Abes. Getting a little miscommunication there by the Old Abe, sends that ball all the way past the end line, and the Raiders will have a goal kick there. Raiders fighting it out again. Pushing that ball up the field again from midfield to striker, but nobody on the sideline for that rebound or bounced pass off of Sophia Nault. The Old Abes with a pretty solid chance there. Just enough Raider defense to keep them off the ball, but that was a scary opportunity for Memorial, and a nice play by Raider goalkeeper Hannah Kendhammer for getting on that and taking a hit at the same time, because Claire kind of took it to her and dropped that ball. Now here's Ransonici. Oh, what a play there. Ransonici really did all she could. I think she was a little too far ahead of her teammates, but she got that ball. She lured the defense. She played it back so nicely, and unfortunately there was just nobody there to pick up that ball and just pound it home, because that would have been a sure thing if any Raider had been in that general vicinity. So Raiders are knocking on the door, and hopefully we'll see something here out of the blue. Eau Claire again trying to make their mark too, bringing it back down, but the Raiders pull this one back and push it back up the field. Definitely seeing some tighter play by the Raiders, a little more intensity by the Raiders, I would say, in this half. Whatever Coach Solom addressed at the halftime speech seems to at least motivated them to some degree here. We'll hope it sticks with them and they put something on the board. Okay, Eau Claire again, resetting. Trying to go for a little nutmeg pass. That's a ball where you try to kick it between the defender's legs and then you run around them to get the ball. But that wasn't going to be happening against Hannah Huntley, who's a quality defender. Eventually that ball gets out of bounds off the Raiders, and the Old Abes will have a corner kick. They've had a little difficulty really getting this ball up and where they want it on corner kicks, so let's see what happens here. Kind of in the area. Again, that's low. You'd like to see that ball a little bit higher and more into the scoring area. So that's to the Raiders' advantage. And again, Eau Claire, they get another one. Send it in. Left-footed shot out there from the winger. But Kendhammer again there to pick it up. Nice job by the sophomore Raider goalkeeper. It's a nice turn and play there by the Raiders. Couldn't see who it was. Grace Hansen going for the long ball, and just it's out of everybody's reach except the Memorial goalkeeper, who picks it up and is going to give it a ride here. Raiders pushing it up. Only to be taken back again by the Old Abes, and now a throw in by the Old Abes. We're now about 10 minutes into the second half, and we are still scoreless. I have covered these Raiders girls for all of last season and this season. I don't know if I can say I've watched them for 50 minutes and not seen them score. So we'll hopefully see them put something on the board here. There's Nault fighting out down in the corner. Eventually is off of the Old Abes. Comes Hannah Huntley with the throw. LeClaire now pushing up with numbers. Raiders defense holding strong. Here's McConnell again, playing some tight D down there for the Raiders, keeping that Old Abe offense out. Grace Lewis back to play some defense there. Nice play. Keeps the ball again out. This will be a throw-in now for the Old Abes. Sounds like a substitution probably happening.
Entering the game for Eau Claire, number 7, Madison Rosenberger, and number 5, Eliana Boda.
Couple subs for the Old Abes. And the Raiders will have to get serious on defense here, and they keep that ball out and off of Eau Claire, which will give the Raiders a goal kick here. Raiders going for the deep ball, and high bouncer kind of slowed Rancinici's drive there. Now Claire's get a little bit of a chance, but McConnell streaking in defensively puts the end to that attempt by the Old Abes, gives them a throw-in. McConnell's played a really excellent match so far. The whole Raiders defense has. Rancinici with a nice steal there. That's about all she could do is try to turn and pass it off. It's awfully hard to do much more. But that's taken back by Eau Claire. And again, that ball gets deep in, taken by Hudson's goalkeeper, Hannah Kindhammer, and she'll give it a ride. We're now over 11, almost 12 minutes into the second half, with a scoreless match here between the Hudson Raiders in blue and the Eau Claire Memorial Old Abes in white. Nice turn there by Sophia Nault, trying to use her speed. Gets it into Rancinici, who has a tough time making the quick turn and pass, and disrupted by the Old Abes. Old Abes goalkeeper comes out far and clears it. Call by the ref for something. Not sure what. Again, when you can't see the whole field, it's awfully hard to see what some of the calls are. But Raiders are going to get a free kick somewhere around the middle of the field. Big kick there for the Raiders, right where they want it, but just a little low maybe. It's tough to be that picky, but a higher ball might have given the Raiders a better chance at something there. But nice play by Memorial goalkeeper, picking that ball up. Again, she comes out far and takes that ball out. There's Lewis fighting it out on the sideline. Riley White pushing it up to Grace Hanson. Eau Claire pushing at their defense to move that ball up the field. Big clear by the Raiders will give Memorial a throw in here. Big throw by Memorial. And a Huntley there with a good play. Down with the throw. That ball went in and run out. Must have been a little spin on it or ricocheted off somebody, but it'll be Old Abe's throw. Good turn there by Grace Hanson. Again goes for the long ball up the middle, taken by Eau Claire. Another big ball up the middle. Collected off the rebound by Ransonici. Tries to thread the needle. Eau Claire's goalkeeper seems to be expecting these little through balls because she is out and on them quickly, but she seems to be quick and speedy as well, which is helping her beat the Raiders to those little through balls. Long through ball up the middle by the Raiders, again taken by the goalkeeper. Aerial pass by Eau Claire, and the Raiders take that. And again, here's a nice play. Oh, man, the Raiders, that's a good opportunity. Nicely played there. Couldn't tell which player that was, but nicely played. But again, that Eau Claire goalkeeper sniffing it out and coming right out after the ball. Foul called there on Grace Lewis. It looked like maybe a little more body on that jump ball situation, and Eau Claire will have a free kick. Raiders continuing to have the advantage on time of possession, in my opinion, and they now have about 8 shots on goal. This half, they've had some real quality attempts. Ransonici again gets that ball, tries to lay a left-footed shot on, not able to get all on it, and collected by the Memorial goalkeeper. Another nice save. She's playing a lights-out game so far and keeping Eau Claire in this match. Wouldn't say she's made spectacular saves, but she's been very aggressive at ending the Raider opportunities. So Raiders haven't really put a lot of high quality shots on the goal, but they've had some pressure this half. And the Old Abe's keeper has been done really well at it. Grace Hanson there, sending a ball very deep, collected by the goalkeeper. And comes the punt. Will be a Old Abe's throw in here, and looks like we maybe have a substitution happening.
Checking in for Eau Claire, number 15, Avery Brito. Number 2, Sarah Lester. Number 1, Lydia Palmer. And number 20, Ellie Hudson. Coming in for the Hudson Raiders, number 24, Olivia Petty. Number 4, Jillian Brown. And number 10, Talia Heyer.
All right, so some subs for the Raiders. Olivia Petty back in the match. Olivia's had some strong scoring, so maybe she can get something going here for the Raiders. Kalia Heyer is a good midfielder, very aggressive, can maybe make something happen, and with her aggressiveness and good play. And then Jillian Brown back in the game on defense for the Raiders. Big clear there. Grace Lewis with the ball. Here's Petty in the middle. Out wide to Nault. Sophia usually likes to get that ball out there and use her speed. She usually can use that to her advantage, but just hasn't had great opportunities yet. There's a big ball in again. Just it's a game of inches and feet, and that was about 2 feet, a little too far, and great catch and pull down by the Memorial goalkeeper, because there was a little bit of heat from the Raiders there. Now LeClaire trying to get it up the middle themselves. LeClaire really has been stifled this half for the most part. Not a lot of great scoring opportunities for the Old Abe, so Raiders defense has kicked it up a notch, but their offense also has started to really control this game. Nault with a hard foul there called by the ref. Dropped the shoulder a little bit. It's going to be a free kick. A good 50 yards or more out for the Old Abes. So they'll be trying to set this up in the goal area, I think. See if they can make something happen. It's a good ball. A little bit low, but a good strike into that area, but nobody home to deal with it immediately. Raiders defense stays strong, kicks it out to be a throw-in. Now down to under 20 minutes in the match. 0-0, still our score. Shots on goal for the Raiders, 10. Shots on goal for Memorial, 3. So you can see that the Raiders have had more quality possessions in the offensive half to generate those shots on goal. But again, the Raiders' attempts have been more or less. They've penetrated, they've gotten in, but they're not peppering the goalkeeper, is I guess the way I would describe it. But they are having more attempts overall. Neither team has had a great... I guess the Raiders had a couple good opportunities that just sort of fell by the wayside. But plenty of time for the Raiders to get on the board here.
In for Eau Claire, number 8, Ella Herman. Number 3, Ava Palmier. And coming in for the Raiders, number 11, Armana Ransanici.
Ransanici took herself out. She must have been gassed or something. Needed a short break, but she's right back in. She's one of the Raiders' top scorers. They need her in there. She makes a lot of things happen. She had one game. She scored 2 goals in about 35 seconds, which was spectacular. In fact, I missed that she scored the second one because it happened so quickly. And there again, the Raiders get a good run up the field. Grace Lewis with a nice run up the left side. Just kind of ran out of space. Too many defense. Tries to get the ball in, but there's that Old Abe's goalkeeper again, out playing aggressively to pick that ball up and just end any opportunity the Raiders might have. Clea Higher, they're hustling back. Raiders trying to stop this last attempt here by the Old Abes. The Raiders have largely owned the conference for the last year or so or more. So I'm sure Eau Claire is starting to maybe think something amazing might happen here if we keep it up. 2 years ago, Raiders went to state off a spectacular season last year, a solid conference season out of the Raiders this year so far too. But both teams are having to work for this one. We're now at about 17 minutes left in the game. Score 0-0. A little more back and forth off throw-ins there. Raiders get it deep and now have a throw-in deep in their own territory. We'll see what they can produce out of this. Ransonici coming in for a short throw. Well guarded. Into Grace Lewis. Well guarded as well. Kicked out of bounds. Be another Raiders throw-in and generally the same territory here. Now there'll be a substitute. Actually, they're saying it's an Eau Claire throw-in.
Entering the game for Eau Claire, number 6 is Brianna Hoffman.
Jillian Brown fighting it out there in defense for the Raiders. Now taking the throw. Clei with a nice takeaway and cut there to get some open space. Gets it to Petty, but Petty puts it deep and easily taken by the Memorial's goalkeeper. Delayed call here by the referee is going to give the Old Abes a free kick. That's one where I think he waited to see if advantage would produce any true advantage. Big collision there. Petty wins that one and the ball and gets it through. And here comes Ransonici, but again, this one's just too far out of reach. And the Eau Claire keeper was wisely right on top of that and foils another attempt by the Raiders. Some nice footwork there by number 2 of the Old Abes to get that ball up the field. Some quick passes here by the Old Abes. That last one was kind of a blind pass, and the Raiders were there to pick it up. Clock is ticking down. We're now down to under 14 minutes in the match. This broadcast is by the River Channel, Ooh, here comes an alt. She's got this. Oh, man. Sophia Nault using her speed and. Oh, interesting. Giving a call on Nault there. A little extra contact. I'm not sure that was as much of a foul as the others, but she's gotten away with a couple hard fouls. Ref has probably said that's it, and along with the foul, she did receive a yellow card, which means she's got to exit the game temporarily. She can come back in. Second yellow card means you're out of the game, and I believe out of at least the next match as well. So Sophia's going to want to, when she returns to the match, which I'm sure she will, she's going to have to hold off on that aggressiveness. Because the Raiders are going to need her in their next matches over the weekend. But, man, before that foul, Sophia had a great opportunity. She'd finally gotten a chance to kind of break away a little bit with her speed. Defense was closing in. She had a chance to shoot and or maybe do something. It's always hard to tell if she had the angle on the ball to really be able to put a move on or not. And knowing Sophia, she probably didn't, so she elected to take the shot. But as we've seen all night, the Eau Claire goalkeeper in the right place at the right time, and she was coming out hard on that ball, and she disrupted that play. to limit Nault's shot there. So kudos to the Eau Claire goalkeeper again, who's single-handedly kind of keeping them in the match, so to speak. And again, there she is again. Big cross in by the Raiders, and goalkeeper not staying back at all. She's getting into the fray, and she is picking that ball up quite a bit. Okay, Eau Claire now pushing the ball up the field, trying to get some offense going. Raiders deposited out of bounds, and it'll be a throw-in now for the Old Abes. They've got some girls that can really throw this ball far and deep, so I'm not sure who this is throwing it, but we'll see. And that's a pretty big throw there, right into where you want it. But off of the Old Abes, and that'll be a goal kick for the Raiders.
Coming in for Eau Claire, number 16, Piper Gunderson, and number 7, Madison Rosenberger.
Eau Claire with a couple more subs. They've had a very strong rotation of players, keeping fresh legs, and which I think has helped them tonight. There's Petty with a nice takeaway up to Grace Hansen, but she got pickpocketed there. Not sure if there was communication to her that someone was coming on, but Eau Claire came in and disrupted that play, and now they've got the ball back off the throw-in. The big throw gets cleared by the Raiders. Here's Rancinici. Doesn't get a good foot on that ball, trying to put a through ball through. So the Old Abes take it again. Grace Lewis here with the ball. Nice play there to get around a defender, and tries to get the ball out wide, but nobody there for the Raiders, unfortunately. And we're now down to under 10 minutes, and score is still 0-0. Raiders really trying to do everything they can. They're kind of just off by a hair on most of these attempts, and we'll see though. 10 minutes is a long time. Make something happen. Eau Claire setting up. Few too many touches there to get a quality shot, but she was seeing if she could pull off about a 20-yard shot there, but Raiders defense kind of gets in the way and ends that nicely. Now we've got another Raiders or Old Abes throw. Big throw there. Camera couldn't even keep up with it. So again, this is brought to you by the River Channel, this broadcast, and it's always exciting, and we're super nice that the River Channel is here to broadcast these games. I know the game is broadcast live, I believe, and then I'm adding some audio here. Whoo! Okay, Eau Claire with a good attempt there. They get it in. Hudson goalkeeper played that nicely, though, and kept it out of the hands of the other strikers of Eau Claire. But there's a quality attempt by one of the best attempts there by the Old Abes. Down to about 8.5 minutes. Rancinici on the sideline. Looks like it's going to be an Old Abes throw. Yeah, I think they changed their mind. That was very definitely a Raiders throw. Some substitutes.
Hudson, number 21, Kylie Nuez, and number 17, Sophia Nault.
There's Nault back in the game after the yellow card. She's the type of player that here, with about 7 minutes left, Sophia can make something happen. So we'll see. She's had the spark this half. Raiders bring it back. Swiped by the Old Abes. There's a good foul there. Hard foul by Eau Claire. And Raiders will get a free kick now. It's a chance for them to put it. They got the legs to put it into dangerous territory. Here's Maggie McConnell. She's got a good leg for this. Puts it in. That's very nice. But again, that Eau Claire goalkeeper, she just seems to know where the ball is going to be because she was right there and she was able to grab that and clear it. Not that that ball necessarily was going to score, but it would have been in a very dangerous place. But when a goalkeeper has the knack to come out and get that, they just spoil any attempt you get.
Entering the game for Eau Claire, number 10, Claire Shiners.
More substitutions here for Eau Claire.
Raiders, number 18, Riley White.
And Riley White in for the Raiders. Big clear here for the Raiders, trying to get that ball up the field quickly now. You're going to see the Raiders really pushing it. There's Nault. Again, trying to use her speed to just make something happen for a breakaway. Big throw in down to Lewis. There's Lewis with a cross in. But that angle was tough for any Raiders to get to and picked up by Eau Claire's goalkeeper. It's Petty picking it up. Eau Claire again trying to make something happen here after the Raiders sort of had a lot of control there for the last 5 minutes or so. Good hustle there by the Raiders. Big throw there by... Oh, man, another great... This is exactly what the Raiders want. It's a great play by Ellie Stubendick up to Grace Lewis, who does a cutback pass, but too much defense there. Keeps them back. The Raiders are doing a lot of good things. They're just not getting that final true scoring strike on the ball. Eau Claire now with a free kick. There's about little over 4 minutes in this match. 0-0. A lot of pressure on these girls. Both teams would love to get one goal in here and take the win out of Hudson Raiders Stadium here. There's Lewis again with the ball. She's had a great game. Played really hard. Feeds that ball up. A little crossover. Big hustle there out of Eau Claire to get that ball out of bounds. Huntley. Pass into, I think that's Stubendick in the corner. It's a nice play there. Stubendick gets a nice cross. Oh my gosh. Again, oh my gosh. Wow. Wow, oh my gosh. Stubendick with just a beautiful light little cross. Grace Lewis there. Gets a foot on it, tangled up though with the goalkeeper a little bit. That ball was a hair from being in the goal. If somebody could have came in with a good solid step and put a boot on it. But ultimately, I believe it ended up being an offsides at some point there. So we're now down to less than 3 minutes. 15 shots on goal by the Raiders. 15, folks. And Some of them high quality, some less quality, but 15 is a lot of attempts to not score in high school soccer. Eau Claire, on the other side, has 4. But their goalkeeper has played amazingly to keep them in the match. Hannah Kendhammer, the Raiders goalkeeper, has also played extremely well in a lot of cases here too. Big throw by Eau Claire to see if they can make something happen. Big turn. But it's a tough ball to really do a turn like that on and get around on the shot. So the Raiders get the free kick, and they're going to do it quickly. There's 2 minutes left. Neither team wants a tie, especially the Raiders after putting 15 shots on the goal. Big throw here by Stubendick. Too much defense around Grace Lewis, though. Well, Claire now the minute and a half trying to put something together here at the very end. Move the ball around well. They get a nice strike on there. Not a bad strike. Left-footed shot, but Kendhammer is there to pick that up. We're now down to about a minute in the match. Can the Raiders pull a miracle out here with a minute left? There's Grace Lewis threading the needle. Oh my gosh. And Nault, she's able to get there, but it's just a hair out of her reach, and she gets a foot on it and sends it to the goalkeeper, who clears it. We're now down to about 45 seconds. This is maybe looking more and more like it's going to end in a tie. We're now down to about 30 seconds. 15 shots on goal by your Hudson Raiders. Unfortunately, none of them hitting the net. 5 shots on goal for the Eau Claire Memorial Old Abes. None hitting the net, and we are still at 0-0 with about 15 seconds left. And in soccer, we don't play overtime in the regular season. And this one is going to end in a draw, my friends. It's been a great match, great goalkeeping play by both teams, and we will be back for the next games when possible here with the River Channel. My name is Jeff Ion. It's been a pleasure watching these girls play a very hard-fought defensive matchup, and Hudson Raiders will come back and get them next time. Thanks, everybody, and have a great night.